Hello, you are most welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to your power behind the voice on Tuesday Night Anatomy with Daniel Okwan. Yes, we are still in the era of anatomy of clinical importance. And my friends, this is today's case study. A 56-year-old man presents with a sore, inflamed tongue, and difficulty in swallowing. He also reports a burning sensation on his tongue and has noticed some kind of changes in his sense of taste. Now, this is the case study we have before us. Now, the first question for us is that what is the clinical term for an inflamed tongue? And my friends, your answer is glossitis. Yes, understand that the organ that is involved over here is, of course, the tongue. And so inflammation of it, okay, presenting with that sore, okay, so certain things which will characterize this glossitis will be that kind of soreness, okay, the sore that is present. And then, of course, the pain that, of course, this patient will experience, okay, coupled with, of course, the difficulty in swallowing. Now, if that is the case, then the next question for us is that what are the major, parts of the tongue that we know? Now, the first thing is that, yes, if you look at the tongue, the important thing is that it is a musculo-glandular organ, yes, residing in the oral cavity. Okay, one thing we know is that, yes, if you look at the tongue, it will have two main surfaces. It will have what we call the ventral surface, okay, which will have the usual lining mucosa, okay, and then of course you have what we call the dorsal surface, okay, having some kind of special mucosa. And it's special for the reason that at the end of the day, yes, both the lining mucosa and of course the special mucosa of the tongue, or is at a dorsal aspect over here, will be of course endowed with stratified squamous non-keratinized epithelium. Yes, except in some areas of the dorsal aspect of the tongue, okay, that's superior surface of the tongue, where we see, of course, some kind of filiform lingual papillae, which will be keratinized, so to speak. Okay, so the first thing is that we've seen that it's a musculo-glandular organ, and then by way of the muscles, okay, so muscles, we have the intrinsic muscles. Yes, we understand those ones that they are distributed. Yes, they run in different planes, and of course, interspersed within them, we have what we call glands. Okay, all those serous and of course mucous, glands in there. They represent what we call the minor salivary glands of the tongue. So of course, they can secrete saliva continuously, ensuring that the oral cavity or the tongue is always, wet. Now, of course, we understand there will be the tip. We understand we are going to have what we call the anterior two-thirds portion. We're going to have the posterior one-third portion. And we understand on the dorsal aspect, the anterior two-thirds portion, that is where we have what we call the primary lingual papillae, which of course most of them will help with gustation, okay, the sense of that kind of taste. Where the posterior one-third, yes, we have the taste buds over there, distributed over there. But in addition to that, we have that kind of cobblestone-like appearance over there by way of the lingual, papillae in there, okay, helping to ward off, okay, all those pathogens, okay, that may find themselves in the oral cavity. Now, the other thing which we need to understand is that, now, based on this question that we have, the next thing for us is that what could be, predisposing, factors that could result in this inflammation of the tongue. And my friends, one thing we need to understand is that, yes, direct trauma, yes, to, of course, the mucosa, the tongue, yes, may help, may disrupt, the sense of taste, result in the pain, and of course, that inflammation. Okay, so that's one thing. Yes, some medications, yes, could result in that kind of inflammation of it. And that is why you need to be very careful, okay, whatever you are consuming, or it may cause some kind of inflammation to, of course, the tongue. Yes, some infections, either bacterial or fungal infection, all those things, yes, could be implicated okay, may cause some of these, inflamed, tongue. Okay, so these are some of the things which will result in that kind of inflamed, tongue. And so one thing that we need to understand is that even when you have some kind of deficiency in some vitamins, okay, yes, largely we talk about vitamin B12, okay, talk about even iron. Yes, these ones are very important, for they help, repair, of course, even the mucosa when there's some kind of damage, help with, of course, the wound healing. Okay, minimizing that kind of inflammation. So you have deficiency in some of these things, it may predispose you to suffering from, of course, this glossitis that we're talking about. And so when someone presents with this glossitis, what will be some of the things that this person cannot do? And that is where we need to understand, the function of the tongue. And so if we know the function of the tongue, then we know that when it is inflamed, then certain things may not be achieved or may not be, well performed by it. Yes, we know that tongue helps with gustation by way of tasting, and that is why this patient experienced some kind of changes in his sense of taste. And so one thing is that the sense of taste may go down. Yes, it could be because the taste buds, okay, which are supposed to be there, yes, perhaps some of them got destroyed, or even the nerve which is supposed to give that kind of, special sensation, okay, carried a special sensation by way of taste, okay, may be involved by the chorda tympani carried by for the lingual nerve. Yes, it may be affected. Okay, so of course the sense of taste, so tasting is one important function of the tongue. And so if the function, if the tongue is, there's an injury to it, there's an inflammation, it may go down. Now the next one is phonation. Yes, we use it to talk and all that, and therefore articulation, there will be some kind of issues with it. Even kissing, the tongue plays a role. Even manipulation of the food, rolling the food into a bolus, okay, so that of course you can swallow it, that one too may be impaired. And that is why there may be difficulty in swallowing, because the tongue plays a role. And at the end of the day, we need to really help with this. It also plays a role in the mechanical digestion. Okay, so there may be that kind of difficulty in that swallow because mechanical digestion wasn't achieved so well. You understand that all these, primary lingual, all these tastes, what do you call it? All these glands in there, minor salivary glands on the tongue, okay, are playing a role, and therefore there may be difficulty or minimal production of the saliva, and therefore may result in that kind of difficulty in swallowing of food. So these are certain things that the tongue will do, and therefore if there's an issue, okay, all these ones will manifest. So my friends, the key thing is that you need to be careful whatever you are consuming. You need to ensure that you take in the right, nourishment. Okay, your food that you are taking is highly nourished. Okay, so that of course you get the essential vitamins, okay, or minerals, which will help with all those healing and all that. And if there are some infections, it needs to be treated and all that. Otherwise, you may not be able to brush, your teeth, and for that matter, clean the tongue very well. And therefore, of course, halitosis is one of the things which may manifest itself in terms of the complications. Okay, and you don't want all these things to happen to you. My friends, I believe you find this meeting helpful. I'm very grateful for your time this evening. Have a good night, all of you, and may the good Lord richly bless you. Amen.